So today we have good questions coming. One from Samaya, two from John, waiting next for Javan, and from Avi.
He already has one, he said.
Okay. So how was water created? Actually, how was anything created? Right? Everything gets created almost the same way. They look different. How is ice created? You know? Ice created by temperature. If there is water, temperature is very low for some time, water will become ice. Right? Water becomes ice. How is steam created? When the same water begins to boil, listen, steam comes out, right? And water becomes less and less. Water becomes less and less. Steam comes out. Water becomes steam and disappears in the atmosphere, and water has also disappeared. So you will say, where did the water go? And the steam disappeared. Right? But what water is made of doesn't disappear. That's important to know. Water may disappear, but what is made of water doesn't disappear. So now how did the water get made first time? Right? Before water came on earth, where the water was? Somewhere was it there?
How was it created?
Okay. How was sun created?
Well, from dust.
Yeah, I explained to you earlier, when stars collide, dust created, lots of different kinds of particles are created in that explosion because of the heat. Whatever is together gets separated. In the heat, everything gets separated. See, water becomes steam. The oxygen and hydrogen get separated. If together they become liquid, separate they are gas. Right? So different kinds of particles get created, they are scattered all over. Of them, the lightest can move fastest, and when everything is moving, they come closer and closer, and they fuse, which means they come together, they become one. Hydrogen and helium are the lightest. When they come together, they become more compact, more dense, fuse, then that nuclear reaction takes place, right? Nuclear fusion. And the heat and energy is created and spreads. Now similarly, in the colder regions, away from the sun, water is not created on the sun, right? It will never be liquid. So far away from the sun, some little bit dust,
Out of this galaxy.
millions of miles away,
Out of this galaxy.
this oxygen is heavy and hydrogen is light. So in star collision, both are created. So when oxygen and hydrogen somewhere come together, they become liquid. And then they start circling, they become a ball, comets. Right? So comets are like frozen ice. And there are millions of comets in the solar system. So when it was cooling, more of those ice bodies were created. And they were crisscrossing, circling around. First they were just crisscrossing randomly. When the whole disk begins to move, they also take a pattern like this. But not exactly circular, they go like slingshot, you know. They come slowly, become faster near the earth, near the sun, and zoom and go further away. So they're like slingshot. They go like this. This is the sun. So from far they come, closer to the sun, they burned some of their water. They have a long tail, but when they are going back, their tail becomes short, right? Because the tail part is burning, right? Before the head part is burning, the eye of the comet is burning, and it's moving this way, so the tail is that way. On the way back, there is no tail. Now, because there are so many of them and the planets were also forming, little bit of dust left from the sun. I told you 98% of the whole thing is sun. In 2% all the planets and asteroids and comets are made. Just 2%. Of which probably 1% is Jupiter. So in 1% you got the other planets and everything else, okay? So they just started bumping into these little things floating around, planets, and lots of them bumped into it, struck it. They broke up, brought ice, became water, and more became water. And then after that, even water is not coming, it is circulating, you know. Ocean water becomes cloud, becomes rain, becomes river, come back in the ocean. That water cycle is replenishing the oceans. And many of the comets that collide, now there are fewer. They still come, but they burn out most of the time. I think about 15 or 20 years ago, Halley's comet, right? They broke into pieces, and you could see like stars breaking and colliding with Jupiter. Was that right? Was it called Halley's?
Halley's.
Isn't it Jupiter? Yes.
Comet.
Right. So that's how water was created.